Oops, we're supposed to start this way. Sorry, it was a late setup this morning. I got an extra camera set up here and I was scurrying around to try and get all the settings properly made. Have I spoiled it? Warning. The cameras are plugged into different holes today. We've got an extra camera set up over there. Why would that be? Normal day in Saxa, it's Thursday. It's an average week for us here. We're doing okay with the weather. We're a bit worried, it's getting into rainy season. We haven't, to my knowledge, had an actual declaration that the rainy season is here in the Kanto area. We're getting a bit of rain here and there, and we're getting a bit of hot weather, but we don't still have that muggy, monsoony, hugely damp feel. It's actually okay today. 2 days ago it was breezy, it was chilly in here. So we don't have a rainy season yet in Tokyo, but if you're going anywhere, take your umbrella, absolutely. Good morning, good morning. The work today is going, what is this? That's going to be a chat item. Oh, this is relevant to the reason why there's an extra camera here today. If we can see, it's kind of bright. It's too bright, it's not showing well. It's relevant to why there's an extra camera here. We'll talk about it later. You know where we're at. I haven't done any work since I last spoke to you, so we're going to pick up exactly where we left off the other day. Exactly. But we're in the home stretch. We're now coming down to the face. Karen's got it. Karen's got it. Vivid KP has it. Do you want to explain or shall I? I think it's time to start some hair. I think it's time to start. We'll finish with the face, but I think it's time to start with some hair. So people are dropping this into the stream here and there. There's a young lady from Switzerland, a friend of ours, for a number of years. She's not a woodblock printmaker. She's I don't know she works with brush and Sumi ink. That's her genre, not printmaking. Her name is Mafalda. She visits once every couple of years, once a year or so. And she's here. She'll be dropping in today. It's 8 o'clock now. She'll be coming around 9 o'clock or so. She's got a new book. It's going to sound like the Tonight Show. Hello, Mafalda. It's been a year since we've seen you. I hear you've got a new book. It's going to be like a talk show or something. She'd be embarrassed if I said so. Anyway. Let's roll. We have bits and pieces of news today, a little bit update on some of the stuff going on in the background. It's still early, 8:05. Let's wait till more people have showed up, whatever, then I can update you on some things. Nothing dramatic news yet, but there are some updates. Things are moving forward on a couple of fronts that will be of interest. Absolutely. The other day, somebody sent an email. I think I already talked about it. They were chatting with me, or talking to me about the way I was doing some of the lines, whether it was a shoulder line or a cloth line or something. One of the viewers here, somebody watching, and that person also made another suggestion that I didn't mention when I was chatting about that the other day. The person's suggestion was that this white layer that I use to block out the original, they were suggesting, and I guess he does it this way himself, he was suggesting that that layer could be set at some different opacity. I've set the white layer to be a completely block out so I can see these lines. But what I have done to help me with this is, if I take away the white layer for a minute, the red layer that I'm drawing, this is the layer that I have set to a partial opacity. If I set the red to full opacity, now as I draw, it totally covers up the lines that I'm tracing. And if I draw too far, I can't see that I've drawn too far. If I'm still thin, I can see it, but if I've gone too fat, I can't see it. So my choice on this, rather than keep the white layer transparent, semi-transparent, translucent, I keep my red translucent, and while I'm drawing the first stage of the red, I can still see where the black is. If I was going to zoom in a bit so I can maybe see a bit more what's going on. To try and see what's going on. See, if I was trying to draw this one, for example, we can do it here. Now, if I go too far, I can still see the black underneath because the red area here is still translucent. But his idea of keeping the white in place all the time, but making it transparent, so it stays there all the time. You've got your red, you're drawing on your red here. You can see the original view, but the reason I wouldn't do it this way is, for me still now, I can't actually see the full shape of the red. So for me, I would just rather simply keep the white at 100%, block everything, and just now create a red line that looks sensible. I don't care anymore about where the original is underneath here. Lots of ways to do this. But thanks for the feedback, and thank you for the suggestion. I'm not going to follow that specific one, but thank you very much for taking the time and trouble to think about this. I don't remember who it was. I'm sorry. Someone's asking about the iPad, the screen protector things. There's things I guess you can do. You can put a thing on the iPad screen that will give you texture and make it feel like you're drawing on paper or a watercolor pad or something like this. I guess those are cool. If I were an artist and if I wanted to have that drawing feedback, and if I knew what I was doing, maybe that would be a way to go. Dave here is not an artist. He doesn't even know what it feels like to draw on real paper. So having that mocked up on the iPad here, having it also included here wouldn't really bring any value to me. But I guess for people in the arts and drawing field now, these tools are just changing their lives, of course. Okay, I think we really can't avoid it much any longer. I think we've got to hit some of this hair. Grab one of these spirals and see if we can figure out how it's going to work. Now, some of them are hidden behind others. So let's try and find one that's out in the open, that's clear, got its own full spirals, and then we'll just define the style. This one here looks pretty much full and open. Oops. I also wonder what it is we're drawing here. What is the deal with this hair? Is this some sort of, is it a headdress? Is this a way that his hair has been styled? Is this some result of the electric shock the guy is being subjected to? What actually am I looking at here? What are we doing with this hair? I should maybe look into it and see if there's a standard pattern, if it was a standard thing with these Buddhist or Hindu guardians or gods. Or just something hooks I made up. Okay, now there's lots of comments. Are these jokes or are these the real thing? I don't know. Curly hair, okay. I can believe that. Overnight curlers, I don't think that's that. Dreadlocks, I don't think count. Corals as hair. Someone says it's actually corals as hair. I don't know. Snails that come out to cool his head while he is meditating. Is this a joke comment or a real thing? I can't tell the difference. Whatever. I guess I asked, you can't tell the difference between the sensible answers and the joke answers, I guess. Is that indicative of the quality or level of our stream? Dave asked a question and can't tell what the answer is. Someone is doubling down, saying the snails are the actual traditional answer. I don't know if I'm being trolled or not. I'm sorry. It doesn't really sort of sound like a thing. So pardon my pardon my little bit of doubt here. I think you're going to need some backup before you convince me that that's true. You're going to need some corroboration on that one. So, like Wikipedia or something or whatever. Pardon my cynicism, but. Again, we've got our usual thing, how clean to make them, how ragged to make them. The originals here done with a brush in very tight circumstances are ragged. There's no way he could have done other than that. So I think we clean them a bit, not obsessively so, but again, always keeping in mind the scale of this. These are going to be very, very small. And when I carve them, my knife moves around these curves. My knife will move in a basically clean, sharp manner. It's sometimes more difficult to make these things ragged than it is to make them neat and clean. Your knife just carves, soup, nice curve, soup, nice curve. To make them broken is actually not so easy. Snail shell curls. But I cut his hair and a couple snapped into curls. The face is quiet and serene, snapped into curls, and he never had to cut his hair again. Okay, so we do have a thing. Okay. Anyway, we have coils like a snail's shell, curls. Okay, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. I mean, does this make a difference to what I'm doing? Whatever, we have curly shapes, similar to snail shells, similar to curdles, whether it's hair or shells. But yes, thank you for the people who've taken the trouble to look that up. This one goes right the way down. I guess it must be a thing, now that I think about it. When we go to the, where is it, out in Enoshima, the Daibutsu, he has, these little curly buttons and things on his head as well. So I guess this is part of the same thing. So it's clearly a thing. But I wasn't under the impression that the person or the man we're dealing with here was Buddha or a Buddha, I guess. What did you do in the war, Daddy? I traced snail shells on somebody's head. Ooh. Was it fun? Yes, dear, it was fun. Okay, the first one there was quite easy. Some of the other ones here, I'm not quite sure on screen, on my own full screen here. Could watch out where I am. That first one was easy because it was pretty much clean, and maybe that's one of the first ones that Hokusai did or something with a full brush. But you can see this, look at this. Right next to it we have one here that is now a glorious mess. There's no way I'm going to sit there and try and put gray scratches, whatever. There's just clearly me, are just going to have to recreate this thing. This is clean, this is clean, this is clean. Why on earth would that one be such a mess? Brush running out of ink and just scratched at it. Postpone. Let's move in the direction of good, clean ones so I get the hang of this. No joke. If I try and draw it now, I'm still fresh at this. So let me draw one more. Get a feel for how these lines go. And then boom, come back and build this one. I'm not really never put off till tomorrow. What is it? Never put off till tomorrow what you can do today. That's not actually my method, but let's postpone that one. Build up some skills. Build up a skill set here. Although that is actually an interesting question now. What's the actual real phrase that they used to tell kids? Never put off until tomorrow what you can do today. It sounds like sort of a Victorian era dictum. So, and I have two minds about this, and I certainly am known sometimes to have procrastinated about things. Absolutely, I can't deny that. But I'm also the kind of person that when you've got like 4 or 5 jobs to do, I try and kill the most difficult one first rather than put that off till later. Just this is sort of a common sense rule. So maybe both things are true for me. That's going to be a difficult one, but I'm putting it off for later not because of procrastination, because of practice. But having said that, I got face to face with something this morning. I've been using Yahoo Auctions here in Japan for many years, and they have, this is now past tense, they had a system where you could set up what they called Yahoo Alerts. Maybe any auction system, eBay, whatever has this, I don't know. You set a couple of keywords. If, for example, if I was going to look for woodblock prints, this wouldn't be a sensible thing to say, but I could set a keyword for Mokuhankan and send me the alert once a day or twice a day, whatever, whenever new items come up with that keyword in it. So I've been using this system for a long, long time. I've got some very nice keywords. I've got some patterns, this plus this minus this. I've got alternate spellings set up, because many times the people who put up Japanese prints, they think they can spell something, but it's some very common alternate spellings. And when those happen, that's like a little bonus, because I get the alert for something, but not many other people get the alert because they haven't taken the time and trouble to put in misspelled keywords, stuff like this. It's been working wonderfully for years. The Yahoo Auction sent a note a month or something saying, we are deprecating the alert function. The last day will be June, what did it say? June 19th or something. Well, yeah, because it was yesterday. And they're deprecating this. And they have an alternate. They've got saved searches, but you're only allowed a maximum of 20 saved searches. And I have no idea why they are shooting themselves in the foot like this, making it more difficult for people to find stuff on the website. If I was a seller, I would be pissed off at this because it means less people are going to be able to find my stuff. Anyway, the powers that be have done this, and they announced this a month ago. Please remove your alerts or get them, transition them to some other format, saved searches, etc., etc. And I'm like, yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow. And last night, all my alerts had disappeared. Actually, what they're doing is they don't all disappear at once. They're killing them one by one by one by one by one. So a good chunk of them disappeared yesterday. Another chunk of them disappeared last night. And probably every time I open the screen, there'd be another chunk gone. So I have no idea why they've done this counterintuitive thing that is going to decrease their sales. I don't know. Now, what's this? What have we got at the top of this one? The first one we did was fairly clear. It ended in a line, which seems to just be a brush stroke, brush stroke, brush stroke. This one's a mess. Hokusai, come on, do your job next time. Oops. Okay, I mentioned a while ago that we had some bit of news today, and this is news that will be of interest to quite a few people on this stream. I know it's about the paper making project. Where we left the story off, I had visited the paper makers at the Udatsu workshop up in Fukui Prefecture. Udatsu is not a paper factory. Udatsu is, so they call themselves the Udatsu Craft Center in English, I think. In Japanese, it's the Udatsu Kogeikan, Museum of Traditional Crafts or something. They're not a paper making business. And that's where Murata-san, the young lady who we've been talking to about, possibly making some paper for us, that's where she works. And where we left the story was that Dave has offered, with the tacit consent of his Patreons behind him. I haven't asked everybody about this, but we know how it goes. I've offered to help Murata-san in any way that she can devise to help get up and running, as perhaps running her own shop or something like this, getting involved in making good quality paper for woodblock printmakers. Various opportunities have been on the table. I've been up there to discuss this with her and her employer, and sort of there's been really a big silence from that end. I really don't know what else I can do. I've offered to help pay for, getting a new papermaking business get set up there. But financing alone is not just the problem. Some businesses need financing. Some businesses need, leadership, business experience, whatever. There's all different factors of this. So she's been sitting up there thinking about what to do. It would be easy to criticize her. Come on, I've given you this offer. Let's just get started. Let's do this thing. It would be easy to say that, but it's really, you're talking about a lady with a family, 3 kids, this kind of stuff. This kind of person can't just, even if they've got a dream about something they would like to do, they can't just, maybe drop everything and do this. I did this a couple of times in my life, but it's not something I can demand of the people around me, whatever. Anyway, I've kept in touch with her, and I'm sort of been waiting to see and figuring out what else I can do to help make this happen. Anyway, yes, Tuesday, the day our shop was closed, I got a phone call early in the morning. It was on our answering machine, actually, before any of us got into the office. It was from Murata-san's boss, Shimizu-san, the guy who is the Kancho-san. Not the owner, but he's the... We've asked this last time. He's not a curator. He's a managing director. It's a city-owned museum, and he's the guy at the top. What would his name be in English? Director. He's not like president. He's not a curator. He doesn't do technical stuff. Director, whatever. Anyway. He left a message on our answering machine. He said, it's your shop closing day, whatever. I'll see you soon. So, and he did. He came over. He showed up in the afternoon. And he had more ideas. And I'm not sort of teasing about this because a lot of the conversation he said, we're not, ready to be. We've not really decided what to do. We're not public. We're just going to bounce these ideas off you. So the extent of what I can report today is that this thing actually is alive. It's not only just alive, we now think we have a path through to make this happen. So again, I can't tell you the full story, but I'm reporting the update here in this. And that he and I sat there, we scribbled on pieces of paper. He had this big notebook page, and he had a big black marker. I thought, at one point I was thinking, oh my God, am I talking to Donald Trump or something? Not from any conversational strangeness, but from here's these white sheets of paper with this black marker, and he was using his marker to try and maybe help him do his own thoughts. I did the same thing, or actually recent years I've tried to wean myself off this because I realized that it was an eye roller for the other people. They would try to explain something to an employee, and instead of just looking them in the face and trying to explain, I grabbing around and find a piece of paper, and I got a pencil. And then I'm trying to explain it by making these scribbles on this piece of paper that makes sense to me. I'm here, you're there. Here's the arrow, direction of flow, you know. But to somebody else, these scribbles make absolutely no sense whatsoever. And he's this kind of guy. He did this. The meeting was 2 hours, or there wasn't a meeting, but we spent 2 hours together. And we went through like 30 pages of this book. And every now and again, I'd say, no, wait a minute, just to clarify something. And I would flip back through page 1, 4, 5, 6. Look here. And I would look at that curly thing that he wrote. And he said, look, what you said there about, you know, where we're going to rent this place and stuff like this. Anybody else watching this would have just been face palming, you know, these two idiots who, for some reason, instead of just looking at each other and saying things, for some reason, they both want to put this in a scribbled form that is sort of, there it is, that's what I mean, you know, and it doesn't make any sense to the other person. Anyway, long story short, he and she have come to an agreement on their own relationship about employment and how long and all that kind of stuff. He has confirmed with me that I'm ready to do this and this and this. That's the real reason why he was here yesterday. Now that he's got my confirmation on what I am really ready to do, what I'm willing to put on the table and stuff like this, they're now going to go back. And we have a game plan now for July, August, September, and October. And October, we will have content before then. We will have video content. We will see things happening. But the first products moving around are now scheduled for October. So I'm sorry, again, I'm in no way trying to tease you. I am just trying to update you on a project that has been simmering, cooking, trying to get born. It now looks like this project will be born. I can confidently say that. And unless, you know, things dramatically go wrong, we will have some physical stuff to look at and sell and use this coming October. And that's sort of the extent of what I can put on you. And again, I'm sorry if it sounds like teasing. So much of this stuff is seat of the pants. You fly it, you try this, it doesn't go, try something else, you know. And when you're dealing with so many people who are sometimes a little bit unsure of what they really want to do here, then it gets a little bit unclear sometimes, you know. I am sometimes frustrated because at this end, I'm the owner. I can decide things. In that sense, I what's the word they used to use? I'm a decider. And I do this. We decide something and bang, there it is, and the things are ordered and the things are set up and the things are bought. I mean, that's why this business exists. So it's sometimes frustrating, well, it's always frustrating when you're dealing with other people who are not quite sure about the way they want it to go. The near future, it's the 20th today. Next week I can do nothing because next week is our financial year end. We're going to be doing inventory of the whole place, counting this, counting that. The first week in July will be full of bookkeeping and crap. The current thinking is that I will go up to see Udatsu people in the second week of July with camera, lights, set up the whole thing, come back and put up a video. That's the current status of that part. So yeah, long story short, we're going to see some new paper. We're going to dive into this. And some of the more cynical people out there might be thinking, Dave, been there, done this. I remember when you announced a project, you were going to make all those tools, all those knives, you know. What happened to that one? Well, what happened to that one was, again, you know, when you're dealing with a whole bunch of different people on a project, it's not so easy to decide and to make things happen and to make them all go the way you want them to go. And the more people that are involved and the farther they are away, and the more that their motivations diverge from your own motivations, the more it is like that, the more difficult it is to actually make something happen on the ground, you know. I guess this is not some wonderful business insight. We all know how this works, you know. When you're working by yourself, you can do or not do anything. And the more people that are involved, the more difficult it is to make stuff happen. But this is good news. After weeks and weeks of silence from that end, we now have, you know, the guy got on the train. It's expensive, you know. From here to that village, it's 35,000 yen on the train, you know. Back and forth. A return ticket from the papermaking village to here in Asakusa, it's 35,000 yen. But I'm looking forward to getting out there again. A couple of weeks from now, a few weeks from now. Take our cameras and stuff. Weather, who knows? We'll try and pick days that are good weather. Someone's blabbing about things being tax deductible. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, expenses are quote unquote tax deductible. They are also expenses. Money leaves the building. I remember dealing with one of our salesmen back at the music store, back in the 1970s, whatever, when I was the manager for the Northwest Musical Services in Vancouver, Canada. You know, we had salesmen, route guys. They would get in the cars and drive all over BC and take sheet music with them and sell saxophones to the school teachers and stuff, whatever. And they had their routes and their people that they would see and their teachers and stuff, and they had their budget, their per diem, and they could take a teacher for dinner if they needed to and stuff like this, whatever. And I remember one day one of the guys coming back. It hadn't been a good trip. He hadn't actually sold much. Maybe the weather had been really bad or something, or the teachers were too busy. I don't remember the details. Or he simply didn't do a good job, and it hadn't been a good trip for him, you know. And he comes back. I'm the guy sitting in the corner office. No hostility, but I'm in the office, and he comes back and makes his report. You know, he's been out of town for 6 days, 7 days, like that, whatever. And he's finally back, and he comes into my office to make his report, you know. And he puts his 3-ring binder on. And I want to see first some couple of numbers, you know. One, you know, what was your order book? How many sales have you got? At this point, we didn't know these things, you know. He wasn't putting orders in on his iPhone. This is 1972. He's coming back with a stack of paper that he would now feed into our order system. So we didn't know while he was out there on the road how it was going. He could have phoned in with some special news if there had been any, but these, you know, phoning was expensive or whatever. So he's been gone for a week. I'm at my desk, and he puts his binder on, and I want to see some numbers. You know, how's he done? And I don't remember the numbers. I'm going to make this up because it doesn't matter, but it's the point of the story. And he'd say, oh, I sold, we did kind of okay, Dave, for a quiet time. I sold 3,200, and he means 3,200 Canadian dollars. This was 1 week of sales for something in 1972 or something. And then I'm like, geez, it was a tough call this time, was it? How about your expense chart? And he says, oh, it's okay. And we sold 3,200, but I only spent 3,000 as expenses, And he, in his mind, this meant he was profitable. Ambulance going by. The taxi must have been waiting in front of the hotel, so he moved over, So. We're not specifically near a large hospital or something, so we don't, we're not ambulances day and night here all the time, No idea. There's a lot of old people in town, and some of them don't wake up in the morning. I don't know. I have no idea. It's too soon in the day for a heat stroke issue. We do get some of that stuff. People will collapse. And then here in the evening, at this part of town, we do get the ambulances called out when there's a drunk who may not just be a drunk. We get that sometimes. I don't know. Anyway, the point I was trying to get at was that our salesman had come back in, and he was looking at the sales dollars and the expense dollars as being the same thing. And as long as the sales dollar was higher than the expense dollar, he thought he was in the clear. Now, that's okay. It wasn't his job to run the business. He doesn't understand these things. That's fine. But the two things are not equivalent. An expense dollar is a dollar that has left your company, and your company is now $1 less valuable. Now, you presumably you got something in exchange for it. We'll look at that in a minute. But the dollar has left your bank account, and your company is now less valuable by that amount. This thing has left you. On the other hand, when a customer gives you a dollar for something, we're just using a dollar for something, your company is not automatically worth $1 more, because a dollar of sales, in order to generate that, you had to buy the materials to make your product, you had to, pay the labor to make the product, the gasoline, whatever, all those things, blah, blah, blah. So an expense dollar comes directly off profit, but an income dollar doesn't directly add to profit the same amount. Of course it doesn't. I mean, this is how it works. So I was saying to go out to... Domo! Whoa. ありがとうございました。久保田さんからでしょう。Yes. そう。どうも、thank you. Prints from Kubota-san. We got to open it later. It's not officially part of our show and tell. And let's make that decision later. Where was I? Tracing. Kubota-san, I talked to him yesterday. We have in our manager system, we have a calendar where the printers put their jobs in and they request their jobs and where we assign different things to them. And Kubota-san, you go roll back a week, he was in the middle of doing this job. I had sent it to him around a week or so ago, and I knew roughly when it would be finished, but you never know exactly. He's making a couple hundred prints here. It could be finished Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we don't know. He could have not felt well for a day. Who knows? You don't know when it's going to be finished. So here at Command Central, I have a part of our manager system set up where I will get notifications from our calendar page. And what will happen is the printers, when they're partway through their job, when they can see pretty clearly when they're going to be done, they might not have been able to see at the beginning, 10 days later. But once they're partway along and getting near the end of their job, they can pretty much see. So today's Thursday. Maybe last Monday, Kubota-san must have thought, let's see, this is Monday. I got 2 more colors left to do. I can get this thing finished. If I ship it Wednesday, Dave will get it Thursday. So he would then want a new job Wednesday. And this is what happens. So he will go to our manager page. He has a login and he'll put in his name on our calendar for the Wednesday. And when I see that pop up, Kubota-san wants paper on Wednesday, that must mean he's going to ship the previous job to me probably Wednesday, maybe Thursday. We're not quite sure. So that tells me the flow of what's going on. And yesterday afternoon, or two days before that, I assigned mentally a job for Kubota-san. I did the sizing for the paper, and yesterday afternoon I handed that all. I gave the paper, I gave a sample print, and I gave wood blocks from the storage here. I passed it to our staff members upstairs, and they will have sent that out to Kubota yesterday at the same time that he was sending me this one. So it all goes on rolling around and around and around. Now, the job I gave him, the one that we sent him yesterday, this is for some Ukiyo-e Heroes prints. I gave him a stack of 90 sheets. He's making more Fox Moon. And I'm thinking today's Thursday, so he'll probably be finished that by maybe a week Friday. And I will start thinking now about the next job that I need to assign him. And we have 5, 6, 7, 8 printers, and that's really a huge, huge part of my job here, is keeping track of what the printers are doing. Is it going to be late? Is it going to be on time? Where's the prints? Getting ready for the next job they will need. And I've asked them as much as possible, give me as much advance notice as you can. Don't drop your name on that DOSA calendar for tomorrow, because if you do, it's probably not going to happen. I can't drop everything to do your sizing. Let me get a good head start. And for the most part, it works pretty well. But that's the single busiest thing that I do here at Mokuhankan, is assigning printer jobs, preparing the paper for them, calling for the blocks to be shipped out to them. It might be from Asakusa here, it might be from Ome. And then, of course, checking the prints when they come back. Dave is really a printer manager. It's the single busiest thing that I do, absolutely, day after day after day. It's a rare day when I'm not doing one of those functions. Last night again, I was sizing last night after everybody's gone, you know. And good question. How would this have worked at the older workshops? Who would have done the managing? Good question. I mean, good question. I don't know. You tell me. An older workshop or at some point, any workshop. Oh, it's Mafalda-san. Are we? Look at my God! It's that time already. Hello, hello, hello. Ask me later. Mafalda-san is here. Come in, come in, come in. No, 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 no. Before you sit down, can you turn the camera on?
Turn the camera up.
Which on? No, 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 no.
No,
And no, no. It's not that button. It's the button. See the button on the front here. And if you squeeze between that and the back, hold it for 2 seconds. We are up and running. Thank you very much. What I should do, I guess, she's going to come and sit down here in a minute. I should take the mic, I think, and put it on the box here between the two of us. Testing, testing. Can you hear me now? If I boost the volume just a little bit. Can you hear me still? Okay, the mic is right there. Her seat is here. Oh, I forgot to clear a space for you. Look at that. Can you knock over the coffee?
I left everything there next to the big prints.
Okay, I'm here.
And I'm here.
You're here. Yes. So. How many people here remember you? I don't know. I a little bit leaked it. This was on my desk when I opened it. And
okay.
I played with it. I said, this is going, those of you who are in the know, this will tell you what's happening today.
Did anyone?
Yes. I wouldn't tell you this. Nobody knew. I didn't know. I wouldn't do that. Vivid KP. She's the first one. She popped up immediately.
Karen.
And I forget what she said. Something like, Mafalda's back or something like this. So you're a known item now, actually.
I'm a known item.
So,
At least among the frequent travelers to Japan, like Karen as well. Hi, Karen.
Welcome back.
Thank you so much. Nice to be here.
I was joking about this at the beginning. This is a woodblock, Prince Street, but it sounds like there's the old Johnny Carson show on TV, and he'd say, so I was like, how are you doing? He'd say, nice to be here. And he'd say, I hear you got a new book.
Oh, yeah, like, is there a band playing somewhere? Like a drum roll?
Yeah. But actually,
No, you know why?
to mention that, because
you're tracing. It's brush strokes. I was here exactly more or less a year ago, and you were also tracing cats.
How
You were tracing
embarrassing! How
cats.
embarrassing is this? The one job that I do poorly, and that this lady is a professional. How did we arrange this? You know.
You were doing. I actually checked this morning because I was like.
To see what I was doing.
No, I packed some of the same T-shirts, and I was just checking. Like typical lady, I was like checking. We're gonna be
to see what you wore a year ago.
Sure.
Come on. Hey, I'm the one who's got that locked up. Nobody's worrying you about that. They're all like, David has got the same shirt on.
I should be like Attenborough, like just pack the one shirt and wear it no matter what time, what place.
Okay, I guess there's people here who do remember Mafalda-san. Most people, I guess, perhaps probably do not remember. The lady is, you're not Swiss, but you're living in Switzerland. You're a European lady.
I am naturalized Swiss.
You are nowadays. Soka. Spain or Portugal? You're from...
Portugal.
I didn't get it wrong there. No, so I was going to say Spain. That's wrong. A European lady. I know. The reason we know her is because she's had an interest in woodblock prints and stuff. Supporter of my work for, oh my God, like since we were a long time ago. She's not a printmaker. Like we had a visit from Karen-san a while ago who's making prints, interested in washi. Mafalda-san is not. What she does is the real job behind what I'm imitating right now. You're a brush painter? Ink painter?
Ink painter. So in Japanese, suibokuga would be the right word. Or sumi is also how you know it in the West.
Suibokuga.
Yeah, so water ink, black color painting. Because ink painting is mostly about all the gradations you can do with ink by combining it with water on paper. So
and brush meaning the what we would think of as a calligraphy style brush.
Yeah, so calligraphy style brush is the main tool, although sometimes you will have you will use flat brushes as well. So depending on what you're trying to achieve on paper. So for example, so hake is a brush you would use very often. For example, if you're trying to do rain effects. if you're trying to do, actually the night rain scene that I brought last year around this time, if you remember the rain appearance at the top, that's usually done with a hake brush, because you need the flat surface to create that texture that looks like straight lines.
Okay, well, just pause this in for a second. We've got an image here. Everybody knows what this image is. Would it have been one single tool used to create this? The fude, the brush. We know, like calligraphy lines, drawing characters. That's done with a fude. The lines for the characters. I've always been telling people, I've had in my own mind, it's all done with one tool, with one brush.
In this case, yes, I think because of the scale and because the lines are not exactly parallel. So if you're trying to get multiple lines exactly to look parallel, then you sometimes use a hake to achieve that effect.
Hake meaning brush,
a
a
flat
wide,
brush, a flat
like a paint,
brush.
like a
paintbrush,
paintbrush,
yeah,
right,
like a
kind of thing,
paintbrush,
yeah.
but the hair is slightly different. Like the ones in the West tend to be very, very soft, and this would be a little bit.
So you get a parallel
different.
as the different.
Exactly,
hairstyles.
because you
Okay.
work with it vertically, and you get like a parallel.
Well, there's even more behind that. I know when I first started doing this and learning about this, to me in the West we use sort of two different verbs, where in Japan it seems to be one verb. I was making those scenes of the poets where there was a human standing there and there was calligraphy beside it.
Yeah, I saw it yesterday. You have a couple of them.
Yeah, there's some
here.
of them here, yes.
Yeah.
The point being, in the West, we would write, the verb is write, to do the lettering, and we would draw the person. So the verb is different, and when you come into Japanese, it's kaku and kaku. It's the same.
The kanji would be a slightly different one. But
Could be slightly
the
different.
one could be,
but it's the same.
It's the same sound,
tool.
and it's the same tool. Yeah.
Yeah, you draw a picture of a person, and then the kimono lines, and then put the name on with the, and it's all exactly.
And
the
if
same
you're
tool.
working that type of line, like in the poet series, you'd use your brush mostly really vertically, the way you
Just a
hold
tip,
it in a
yes.
calligraphy,
Sure,
which is
sure.
the first thing you have to learn also in ink painting, how to
Gotcha.
hold it,
So
how to
you're
hold
now
it vertically.
you're playing around with the brush in a bunch of
Yeah,
different.
sometimes. Like if you're doing well, the first
if you-
exercise you sometimes start by doing is bamboo. And so
this-
to do a bamboo leaf, you would use the brush vertical, like in calligraphy. But very often to do the stem, you'd take that calligraphy brush and use it
Okay,
horizontally.
the only image we have here to try is this one you left me yesterday. It's a flat.
Mm.
So it's the same point. So this is done.
That one was done on site, so I used brush pens, which some people will think I'm cheating.
Fude pen, you mean?
Yeah,
But it's the same tip. It's got
But it's the same
idea.
tip, and I use sometimes a water. So wherever you see line, I used a gray or black brush pen, and then wherever you see color, I used a water tank with Japanese watercolors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this
to
is a
achieve that.
colored picture.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And that
But the
was
black-
done on a
Okay,
Japanese
what about
postcard
the
size.
grey blurry bits at the bottom? Is that the same
Exactly,
brush
so-
that you're going to draw the lines here, and then what you tip the brush sideways? and
Exactly,
just- okay,
exactly.
okay.
So that's the one you're pointing at before, which looks a little bit thicker. Then you have to use the brush almost a bit flat to get, but also because the brush pens are much smaller, then the surface you can cover with that flat tip is much smaller than with a normal calligraphy brush. Yeah.
So in the old days, an original person like you, the genre would be what? Scroll paintings, right? People are paintings for something that would be on a scroll.
So you'd be scroll. You could paint like the horizontal scrolls as well, right?
I mean something that would be
something
rolled
you
up.
can
You
roll
mean? Yeah,
out.
yeah,
You sometimes have that, and then you'd paint. Now I'm trying to think. I mean, you do have fans as well, so and screens, but a lot of not a lot. Screens, depending on how they're prepared, would be a bit different.
These days, people doing the thing that you do.
Sliding doors as well.
What's the main outlet then? Are you doing scroll paintings, or do you do pictures that somebody will frame and hang on a wall? What's the structure of the outlet for your work?
Yeah.
What's the shape?
So I'm a little bit peculiar in that I love books. Like I really like the form of the old album and also a bit the narrative albums. So I paint, and very often if I'm on site, like in a garden or a temple or wherever I'm inspired, I will paint some images. And then after a while, I have a series of some images. I'm like, oh, this would be great to
There's
put
a
in a
story
book.
or something.
So
Yeah. Okay. Well,
very often I do that.
But just a minute. When you do a scroll, there's the thing. You have brushed
Yeah.
this piece of paper. You've painted it. There it is. That's your sakuhin. That's the thing you made. Is the
Yeah.
painting, and it goes out to the person.
Yeah. And
If you're doing a book, you're not going to draw these ones
no,
one by one by
so
one
that's
by one.
why
So
typically when I'm on site, then I have smaller sizes, like maybe up to like what would be maybe a tanzaku size or a postcard hagaki size, and from those typically, because they do fit mostly the size that goes into a book, then I would scan, and
Okay.
my
So
books would then be printed.
the book is then printed, commercially published,
Yeah.
based on the pictures you've done. Okay.
Wouldn't call it really commercially because
No, but you see my point.
yeah.
Okay.
And then, but then during the rest of the year, then I will be painting on either calligraphy paper or shikishi, and then some of those works I get assembled, and whenever I come to Japan, and some of them are made in sizes like shikishi, which you can hang at home, right? So for example, I did one for my ballet teacher back in Switzerland. I still do ballet as a hobby, and he turned. Was it 87 or 88? Like, he's Japanese, by the way. He's still teaching. And so I painted like a small shikishi size for him last year. So that's something very convenient as a format. It's 24 by 27, if you don't know, centimeters.
I'm trying to remember. I should have studied up when I saw you. My father visited a shop yesterday, which is why I
Looked at every print.
But I should have studied up last year when you were here.
Yeah.
I'm going to get this right. I'm going to get this wrong.
Don't worry.
You were partway through a series of large. And it's
scrolls.
8
Those are
views
scrolls.
we're talking about.
So
that's
I'm
fine.
doing.
So is this finished, or is this why you're back now?
This is why I'm back now.
Now it comes together. Okay.
So I'm doing, and the book touches on that too. So when I left here, I had finished view number 4. It's 8 views of Kanazawa in the winter, which is a little bit odd because the 8 views are supposed to cover the whole year. But Kanazawa was the city I left from in February 2020 when the pandemic struck, and I couldn't come back to Japan for 3 years. So I was stuck in my own mind loop painting.
Nice. So you've got what? These were large.
Yeah, these were, so 3 of them are like 40 centimeters by 140. And the last one was 50 by 1 meter 40. The next one might be the same size. So last year I painted Night Rain.
We're talking about these, but I don't have any pictures to show.
Yeah.
If I'd have had a bit more head on this, I could have put some.
Yeah, I know. I was just here yesterday, so there was not much.
We should have scheduled this for a little bit longer, and I could have prepared some pictures to show people here. I'm sorry. No. Okay, in that sense, then we don't have pictures of those scrolls.
Yep.
You brought a book. Let's, instead of just talking here, let's just show some of your work. It's pointless to sit here chatting about drawing and not show the stuff. So let's do that.
Do you want to?
How
do you want to do that? Do you want to do it on the table?
I guess this is the main camera view here. So let's do this. So actually, just let me.
So this book actually starts where we left off last year.
You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to remind me. I'm sorry.
Don't worry, I will. So I left a year ago, and I finished Night Rain, which was view number 4 in the 8 views of Kanazawa in winter. And when I went back to Europe, I needed to. I actually went to Kanazawa, and then I went back to Europe, and I was like, well, I need to find the next 4 views to complete the series. And I had lots of ideas and everything, but I hadn't landed on what are the sketches. What are they going to look like? So my mind was very full, and I just went to this in July to this one beautiful garden in Zurich, a very small botanical garden, which has a small lotus pond. And in that pond, I was there for 2 or 3 weeks, which is roughly how much the season lasts. And every 2-3 days, I painted a view of the same pond, maybe from a different angle, to see the development of the lotus season. And then I finished. I had 5 images, all ink painting with some watercolor. And for those who've seen Autumn in Japan, this looks a little bit more colorful than Autumn in Japan. And then when I finished the series, I went back home and I had found the ideas. I had found my ideas for the next 4. I know exactly what I want to paint. And then I said, oh, wouldn't this be a funny idea for a short story? An artist goes into the garden searching for inspiration, painting the lotus season, and then she disappears. So it's a short story, like a little fiction, a little based on reality, and 2,000 words, or like a 15-minute read. But it's a summer short story, and everything is printed on a Giclée professional printer.
This is on washi.
It's on washi, so it was a...
What kind of washi is this? I don't know.
This is Awagami dense fiber. It's actually not their most expensive one.
And designed for inkjet printing.
For inkjet and, yeah, a stationary actually range, that one. So it's not the one they would recommend for full-on inkjet printing. But my work is not like photography. It's has a lot of white space. It's not very dense. So I managed to make it work after several attempts and fine-tuning of images.
Okay, so just to recap then, what we've got here is it's a short story.
Exactly. So it's
In
a fiction.
A book. So it's start to finish. It's not part of a set of 8 views or anything.
No. So the idea was I now need to paint the next 4 that I found while painting the lotus images. And my idea was I cannot make like a big book, like 100-page. So if I could do like seasonal short stories, this might be the beginning of a series. So,
but it's self-contained. I mean, will we meet the same characters again next time?
Somebody asked me that same question like a week ago, and I said, I don't know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, because honestly, it's an artist, the main subject, and artists are what I know best. But no, the next story might be in a saksa, and if that were the case, it would be a completely different character, but I haven't written that one yet. I just have some ideas and outline, because I need to paint the 4 scrolls first.
So lots of information. It's paper, everything. Okay.
Yeah, so typically with artist books, since Autumn in Japan, I enter them in book design awards, and they're like all the geeky information about everything.
It's necessary. So you've got your ISBN number and stuff like this.
Yeah. And I have like all the details of the papers that I've used and fonts and.
Okay. So people that want this, they don't go to Amazon to get this. Obviously, they go to your website.
They go to my website, or to an art book fair. But honestly, I only go to the ones in Switzerland, so my website directly. Yeah. So it's it was. So then, if you go to a pond to observe lotus for like 2-3 weeks, you suddenly realize that lotus leaves are not just green; they're a cool green on top, and they're a warm green if you look at the leaves from underneath. And so that then inspired the idea for the double cover with actually two colors. So there's a cool green on top, and there's a warm green underneath. And some people have asked me, why is there a Japanese character on that last page that you looked at? That's actually the same font I used in Autumn in Japan. That's the Kazuraki font based on Fujiwara Teika's handwriting. And that's the kanji for lotus, hasu.
Really? With kuruma in the middle? Sha.
Yeah.
Really? Why would they do that? Who knows? Thousands of years ago.
But the thing was, I was when I finished a short story and I was thinking about cover designs and how I'm going to make this, I just typed that character. Okay, what's Lotus going to look like in Japanese? And when I looked at the character, I saw, if you looked at it as brush strokes, and if you were to take the character apart, you could almost read Lotus in Western, like in English, because you could see an L and you could see a little square that says O, and
so what we're looking at here?
Exactly. So from that character, I came up with the idea of deconstructing the title.
And that's what we've got here to show.
Yeah, and because in Japanese architecture, the round window is the metaphor for enlightenment, which is the same metaphor as the lotus flower in Asian painting or in Asian art. Therefore, we have a round window with the title kind of embedded with as few lines as possible.
So this actually says Lotus.
Yeah, if you kind of like...
If we think about it, here's the key. There's your L.
Yeah.
O. T.
Yeah. And then there's the U, very narrow.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
The T
and you have
bottom.
to picture a bit
the
S.
U here. We've got the L, and we've got the O. Yeah. The S is the one that we wouldn't come to naturally. There it is.
No.
I see. Starting random. Okay.
Yeah,
Clever,
it's
very clever.
It's
Very
very
clever.
geeky.
Very
I like
clever.
that sort of thing with my books. Things that you see immediately and things that you kind of have to go back to, double check. And yeah, and then the nightmare was to with the bookbinding was to align the
the greens,
cover
the show.
because
Yeah,
it's a single cut. We didn't do two different molds. So it's actually the same, but there's just a little like offset between the two to give you a little bit of
I
a
get you,
3D
yeah.
3D idea. But anyway, so yeah.
Very nicely produced. It feels nice, light, small.
Yeah, for summer, you
The
don't want
quality
something.
of the fiction, the story, I don't know. I haven't
Yeah,
got to
I
see
don't
that.
know. Because I rocked up yesterday. I said, "Well, I could send it to you," but it's like you're not gonna have time to read. But I'll yeah,
Thank you for showing us. Cool.
very nice.
Something like this, is it like super expensive, or these are, or is there not?
Well, this one I was trying to manage to stay under the 40 kind of dollars, so it's 35 Swiss francs the book because it's very small and very light.
So something reasonable. I was afraid, it would
Yeah.
be fine art, special pricing.
well,
or you're not famous enough.
I don't.
You
Yeah,
don't
I know.
wanna go
Probably.
You don't want to go that route. Yeah.
It's not. It's my books are not to make like huge profit. If I usually tell people like if you were to buy Autumn in Japan, you maybe pay me a coffee and a croissant, and if you buy Lotus, you pay me a coffee.
Because the expenses of making this thing, you mean?
I don't save on papers. Like that's where all the work and,
No,
and cost goes to basically to make it as beautiful as possible.
But you mentioned in passing there, I let it go without stopping and saying, you talk about book fair in Switzerland or something, or a place
Yes.
where people bring their own handmade books to display. What's
Yeah,
the...
so art book fairs are usually where you find some of these artist books. In art fairs, you have a mix of people. You have the publishers who do really artist monographs and catalogs. So independent publishers, but really with a big back catalog. Then you find design studios, people who are into graphic design and illustration and would like to publish like zines. And then typically you find one ink painter, me, who wants to do books in hand-bound traditional style.
Is there, without wanting to be cynical about this at all, is it sort of in the dream that at some point a big publisher would come in and look at some of this stuff and pick it up and publish it, or is this you're happy with just doing this in your own way?
I'm happy just do it on my own. I think, to be honest, I think right now there's only 2 books which I think any publisher could pick, and short stories that would not be enough. There's just a small one.
So body of work first.
So
and
body
then
of
talk
work
about that
first.
later. Yeah. Okay.
But then I think if I think about it, I think I would always do an artist edition first, where I can. And then if someone would be interested, then because most of the legwork is done, you could think of it. If you have an interest, someone else does the paperback or the trade version. But I think you'd need to be good enough and have enough body of work to get there. But the thing is, I'm still growing as an artist. So at the beginning, it's a lot of, am I going to just paint scrolls? Like you were asking, what do I want to do? Or books and a mix of writing and painting. And I just enjoy the 2 a lot. So I think I'll keep maybe painting and writing and see where that takes me.
And you're heading out when? A couple of days back over to Kanazawa, back to the
Yeah, so back to the city. Now I find my compositions, but I still need to do a little bit of research. And honestly, I want to see if I can find maybe something similar to a residency if I could come back later in the year. I haven't found anything yet. But my Japanese is also not fluent enough that I'm probably searching in the right places.
The Mombu Kagakusho stuff, I think. You're probably too old or something for that. Or they're what's their limit, 35 or something? I don't know.
I don't know. So, but worst case, just find a place where to hang about for a few weeks. But yeah, so. Yeah, because I need to finish that series by year end.
Which designs are left? She's talking 8 cat, not 8
not 8 cats.
8
you
news.
still need designs for 8 cats. Yeah, I know.
I need 4 more actually. There's news about that. We'll save it. It's not today.
Not today.
There's There's news about 8 cats. Oh my God, there's
Teasing.
news. No, sorry.
No, so I'm still missing Evening Glow, Evening Snow, Evening Bell, so almost all the evenings. And I'm here to work on returning sales, which will be again a metaphor. But I found the compositions and the places, so I know exactly what's going to be. So it's going to be very much Kanazawa. 3 of them will be in Kanazawa City, and 1 will be in Nanao, the city where Torako, one of the big masters of ink painting, was born.
Any timeline when you're going to be finished that thing? I shouldn't ask because I'm in the same position.
Probably in January, and I'll be running.
Oh, this year?
Well,
you're not talking years down the line. You're talking this year.
I have to finish it this year.
Okay.
So
Okay. There's an exhibition planned or something?
I don't want to talk about it
Oh.
yet, but but that there's a very dream goal that I'm aiming towards.
The Mokuhankan 8 cats thing was...
And like your 8 cats, when I'm ready to talk about it, I'll send
Whatever.
you an email.
Just when I think back now to when Cameron and I started that, we were looking at a project for the next few months is what we were cooking up, something we could do, filling a gap before we got to the next. We were talking about it in the late spring, and we wanted something we could wrap up before starting next year's subscription series.
Because you had time on your
This
hands.
was like 2019 or something. I don't even remember now. My God, it's become a parody.
I also don't remember when
We've
it
become
started.
a parody of ourselves. So,
Like time just goes by so quickly.
Can we, what time is it? It's 9:20. Can we mix 2 things? Can we do show and tell?
Yeah,
I
of
don't
course.
even remember what's in here. It could be, you can help me figure out what this is.
Just keep 1 minute at the end because I brought something else that's unannounced for you. Because to bring like a giclée printed book to a woodblock printmaker feels like underwhelming. It's not hand carved and hand printed.
Come on. I'm not a Philistine. Whatever. We get that sort of thing all the time. There will be visitors to the shop watching the YouTube videos. Thank you. We talk a little bit. And some of them, most of the visitors, of course, they're not making prints at all. Visitors, they've just come to say hello about YouTube or Twitch or whatever. But every now and then, I do ask, a lot of the time I ask, gee, why have you been watching the YouTube videos? Are you making prints? I'm sort of being polite and whatever. And 9 times out of 10, more than 9 times out of 10, people will say no. But every now and then somebody says, well, and that's all they'll say. And their partner says, come on, tell him. And they're like, they don't want to, they've tried a couple of woodblock prints, but they're too embarrassed to show the master, whatever. And at that point, I'm like, that's it, stop, freeze, give me your phone, right now, hand it over, let's see some of these pictures. And people don't need to be embarrassed about this. There's no show it to the master.
But I do love woodblock prints, and at some point, I've had someone else who said to me like 2 weeks ago when I was in the artist book fair, they said, oh, have you tried woodblock printmaking? I think you'd love it. And I'm like, okay, once I master
Anybody
it,
from Dublin on the stream today?
Oh, don't know. There were lots of people. I actually checked on the subway and you had like hundreds. Like,
Everybody
was it about
from
600,
Dublin.
wasn't it?
I've got too much stuff in the way. What do you think? Can you stand in that chair and unhook this? Is it?
Can they reach? We're going to have a health and safety hazard on the stream.
Just unhook that.
Oh, I'm not tall enough, Dave.
Oh, you're not okay.
No,
All
can
right.
you hold the flask?
Yeah.
Can I try to? No, I'm not.
No, it's not going to work. Okay, sorry, ma'am. Okay, sorry, embarrassing.
I'm too short.
No problem. I'll do it. Yes, that's okay. Why would I ask if there's anybody from Ireland?
I don't know.
There's a connection with this print. Years ago, I finished my poet series. I'm planning the Sudimono albums series. And it turns out there's a book out there in the market, and I forget the exact title. It's something like Sudimono prints in the collection of the Chester Beatty Museum. This is a place in Dublin. It's one of the most sort of super secret, nobody knows about, glorious museums on the planet. I say so, I've never actually been there, but I've seen their catalogs and the kind of stuff they've got in there. And there was some industrialist, I don't even know what kind of business he was in, burning the planet to death or something. I have no idea. Got a whole bunch of money, got into collecting Sudimono prints and established the Chester Beatty Museum, or whatever it's called, in Dublin. Left a ton of money for this, and he had impeccable taste on the kind of prints he would collect. And I think actually overlapping, there's brush type stuff. He collected Haida brush paintings like this.
beautiful, like with
I
poetry,
think,
yeah.
so. And what's the connection with this is the book, quite a well-known famous book that was published on his collection, used as the front cover of the book, this.
Oh.
And I didn't know anything about this print or what it was. All I knew was that picture that was on the front cover of this book of glorious prints from the Chester Beatty Museum used this. And I've been waiting, year after year after year after year after year. Maybe I could finally get a copy of the Sudimono print here. And it's designed by Kubota Shunman. And I'm not quite sure about what's going on here. These are manzai dancers. This would be an interlude in the middle of a no performance. What would be a very serious theatrical performance. And we've got a couple of dudes, one with a drum, one with a fan. And I guess they're dancing, but they've maybe come a bit too close to the audience. It's maybe getting a bit too risque. I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine.
So would it be the same as Kyogen, the funny bits?
Yes, I believe so. I believe so.
So what period?
The original, we're looking at the original be 1840 or something for the original.
Okay.
This is, I think it's Taisho. I'm not quite sure.
Good morning.
Morning.
Oh, Uragawa-san, hello. I've actually never seen the original. There is, they've got one in the Chester Beatty Museum, and I've never heard of the fact that this ever being reproduced. I've never, ever seen a reproduction before. And when I saw this on auction the other day, I thought, that's reproduction, of course.
So would this be a book with multiple prints like
No, it's
this,
or
just a single print?
Single
Okay.
item, yes.
But it was a format of book similar to the one you
The
showed.
book, it was single print, a Sudimono print originally.
But that size, because it's not folded, right? So.
This one's not folded, which is even more, maybe it's just a reproduction at this point.
Okay, got it.
How many blocks, how many printings. We've got some decayed metal work here. On her kimono, for example, there's what's, I'm just opening this for the first time, but we have what looks like maybe bronze powder. So we've got some metals that have decayed into a duller format than they would originally have been.
There's some very pretty gradations on the kimonos as well, no?
And just the colors on top of colors on top of colors. This is a double layer. There's a blue base with, I don't know how visible it is, with a pattern over top of it.
Very cool.
Someone's asking, are the smudges from aging or was it printed that way? I'm not sure what you mean by smudges.
Smudges?
I don't know, it's been beaten up here. This key block has been used a lot before this particular copy was made. It's on very, very soft paper, which again is not what we would expect from the Taisho era. But everything else looks like that.
It's a
I
bit,
don't know. It's been mounted. You can see somebody's put.
like
It's got
some
what do you call it?
glue-ish
The tape
paper.
on where it's been in the frame.
it's similar to the. Is it similar to the type of paper there was in that Otamaro book? The one with the birds and flowers.
Not the original one. No, this
no.
is junk paper. This is really
like,
not good paper.
okay.
It's not a gasenshi. It's not a nice hosho.
Okay.
It's
So it's like
full of chiri. My God, the
Yeah.
paper is terrible paper. Go to all the trouble of covering a beautiful block set like that and using paper. And these are not post stains. These are defects in the paper.
That's true.
But I am very happy to have this. It's an image I've liked and enjoyed for many, many years. It's one of the images, actually, that I found interesting enough that got me into this field. I had that book and looked inside it, and this thing would sit on my shelf, and I see the picture again and again and again. So when I saw this come up on auctions last week, I'm like,
I think it's very interesting to see also the contrast, the very fine
Yeah,
lines
lines.
on the,
So
the
you
ladies,
gotta
on the
get it.
guests,
So-
and then a
so-
little bit more
Yeah,
dynamic
but
brush
it
stroke for
looks
the
like a different
for the Kyogen,
picture,
right?
doesn't it? Doesn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah.
What are you saying? These are clean lines. The ladies
Yeah.
are drawn properly. Is that the best way to
Yeah.
do this? The lines are nice,
Yeah.
nice,
Like
nice.
refined
Yeah.
taste.
And over here, bang.
Yeah.
It's not even coloring within the lines anymore either, too. The
No,
hair
it's-
is rough. The face is rough.
It's more
Fine,
similar
yeah.
almost to that kind of Zen style, a bit like, just
Like
a few brush
yes,
strokes,
yeah,
right?
no, you're
So,
right. It's Hontony, it's night and day, left and right.
But the contrast is, I think, gives it interest, right? So, and but those kimono patterns are also like amazing. Very cool.
So I'm very happy to have been able to scoop this. Okay, here we have a very small, minimal show and tell today. I guess we're kind of running out of time now.
1 minute left, maybe.
Kyukyodo.
Yeah. Well, I
That's,
didn't.
let me just the name just before you
Oh,
go,
yeah,
whatever.
For people coming to
Kyu,
Japan.
just so she knows, Kyukyodo is famous for a couple of things.
Yeah.
It's famous as being the place to get the highest quality and most expensive brushes for the work. We have no connection with Kyukyodo at all. Jed now and then, once a year, once every couple of years, he Skypes me. Jed says, Dave, I say, Kyukyodo, right? He says, yeah, I'm running out of brushes, so I have to go down to Kyukyodo. He's got the number. He wants a number 17 and a number 15 or whatever they are and all this kind of stuff, So super, super brushes. It's the place to go for anybody in this lady's world,
Yeah, and I think it's very convenient here in Tokyo. It's just you step off the Ginza metro
sorry,
station
yeah,
and
sorry.
cross the street.
But it's also,
Or in
for some
Kyoto.
reason, it's the place they measure the land values in Japan from. It's become the 1 square meter in front of the Kyukyodo building is the zero set for change as have land prices gone up or down.
Really?
Yeah, I have
didn't
no
even
idea. I
know.
have no
I had no idea
why or
either.
how. Nothing to do with that shop, I think. Just
No,
simply
no.
somewhere in the middle Ginza became the ground zero of land prices and
Yeah.
stuff.
So I just brought something small which I painted last night.
In the hotel.
In the hotel room.
So this is, she bought at Kyukyodo, she bought
Yep.
the blank
Yep.
paper. Is it a shikishi or it's a bit smaller than
It's
a
a bit
shikishi?
smaller than a shikishi, but it's still like the square size. I think the proportions are similar. And unfortunately, they didn't have the envelopes, the nice little gift envelopes for that particular size, or I didn't find them. And
Oh, look at
so I
this. And how can
improvised.
anybody actually do this? You take a brush with a bit of ink and you go, and it looks like a person and a mood and a feeling. How do you do this?
So talking about how you use the brush to do the rock outline that you see, the edges of the rocks, you actually use the calligraphy brush, but you open it. You open all the like the tip. You don't keep the fine tip. You open it so that it looks like a flat brush almost.
Oh, you squeeze it maybe or something.
Yeah. So and then that's
And
why
then-
you get multiple lines, right? So this is all with one brush stroke. but
So
you get
we're
multiple.
starting dark, so the brush has started here with a
Yeah.
fresh load of ink. It's gone down here, and maybe with the same brush now you've gone down again, have you?
Exactly.
So it's black, getting grayer, 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 getting grayer, grayer, grayer down.
Yeah,
to
so
the tone.
you prepare your brush a second time. So it's not, you don't let it run out of ink. You prepare your brush the way you want the color to look like.
And this is how we get depth and tone and distance.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
whatever, So.
So this
But
is
I-
actually I
see
think this
people
one's
do
an
this, but
exercise.
I just don't get it.
This is just an exercise from my teacher's classroom here in Tokyo.
Excuses.
I only got the picture, so I was trying to just practice, and I forgot to you don't buy practice paper at Kyukyodo. You buy the nice thing, but then I forgot. I was like, oh, I have no practice paper. So I had to do everything directly without testing anything. And
So there's a rollback. You said this is a practice thing for your teacher. So you have the picture's already done. You just made another version of it then last
Yeah,
night. Is that what
in this
happened?
case,
Okay,
yeah.
so you can paint the same scene actually again, and then you can paint the same scene
again until
I
it
see, I
looks
see, I see.
ideally
Until you catch it.
until
you
I
get it
catch
right.
it, right?
Interesting.
And this
Okay,
is
okay,
like
okay.
the first attempt.
So you didn't catch it with this.
I don't. Well, you will notice if you look into the details that the little pilgrim staff, like it looks a little bit too long. It should have finished. That stroke should have finished
Who
at the
would
level
know?
of feet.
Come on,
But,
like you go. So you got two of these, and one is on and one is off. And who in the world would know?
Yeah, no, me,
Come
just
on,
me.
come on. My father-son, thank you very much for the gesture. Thank you for bringing
You're
this.
welcome.
So it would be really cool to watch you do this.
I know.
I mean, we talk here, and people are. I'm sure they're really frustrated. Look, you're talking about brushes and squeezing. Grab a brush and do it.
I know. I need to film at some point. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure if I should put this offer out while we're talking to 800 people, but like you're here, you're going up to Kanazawa, then you're coming back here, and you're going back home to Switzerland in a few weeks from now. If you say no, if it's no, but would it be? Could we do this and then I sit there and you sit here, and with an empty shikshi, could you do a picture?
Could I try?
While we watch? I'm not trying to embarrass you, but just so we can see how it works.
We could do it. Actually, we could if it's before I head to Kanazawa. When I come back, I only literally have one night and I leave. But sometime next week I could still work it out.
Okay, let me chat with her about this. I
we
really
need to
don't want
chat
to
because
embarrass
we're
her,
going a
but
bit
I would
over
love to
time.
see
Yeah, I
how
will
this
embarrass
works.
myself.
And I think it's not Japanese printmaking, but I am certain that the chat here, the gang here, would be happy for me to sit over there and for you to sit here. Is it okay? It's a bit of an angled bench. You could put the thing
The
here.
angle I think, is okay because I could keep. I would work with liquid ink maybe for that purpose. So that
Okay,
it's not
I'll
always
talk to
running.
her. I'll see what we can work,
let's-
and I'll let you know what's happening.
Yeah, 'cause
This
you're
it
5
would be
minutes.
a week or so or something down the road before.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you know. That would be so much fun. I'm getting messages. Everybody, Sensei Margin, it seems, is
yeah,
up
he's
and running,
walking,
and
so
they're
you're gonna-
asking to move over
Let's
to
raid.
Sensei. Let's do that. Let's send the gang over.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Mafalo-san, for coming in. Oh, thank you very much. Raid, where are we? Am I trying to do two things at the same time? So we're going to send everybody over there if you're ready to go. For myself, I'll be back here 2 more days. I keep looking at the camera, it's gone. I'll be back here 2 more days, Saturday morning. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks for being a good sport.
Thank you for having me.
Where this isn't the Johnny Carson show, whatever. But
Drum roll again.
so, it
Bye,
looks
everyone.
like the stream has started. The raid is building. 324, 500, 494, 504. I hope Jason's ready for this.
And then you need
Where
to
is he? I don't even know. Last I heard he was in Hyogo
know.
Prefecture. It looks like we're cooked. Send everybody over. Thanks, guys. See you on Saturday.
It's up.
Nope. Over there, and now we stop this one.